Good evening and a very warm welcome to the Grassroots Weekender Show, day 3 of No Parents Allowed at Grassroots Football. That's in the Merseyside area, on certain areas by the way. I'm not too sure what it's like wherever you are. We'd love to know your thoughts on how it's gone over the weekend. It's been absolutely glorious. Yesterday was a biting wind but sunshine. Friday evening, it's always been mixed. I got soaking wet, so obviously we got to go with the flow, I suppose, with the weather. And today was absolutely unbelievable, really nice. In the shade it was cold, but in the sunshine, fantastic. We can't grumble for this time of year, to be honest, if we're playing grassroots football, can we? No, we can't. Anyway, all the referees were absolutely fantastic as well. I'm just checking to make sure that it is recording on the WordPress site as well for the website, because we're on DXTLTV from the Touchlines on YouTube. So welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you for your support, especially over the last 2 weeks. Been unbelievable, growing and growing and growing. Subscribers are growing and we can't complain. So we're doing something right. Thank you very, very much indeed for tuning into us, watching us and sending all your details in regarding grassroots football and what's been happening, especially over this weekend, because it was supposed to go out, wasn't it, that one parent per child was going to happen, and unfortunately it was stopped. Here on Merseyside it was, in the hubs, and it was basically no parents allowed. Now we've reported over the last couple of days. Friday, as I say, was great, people hiding in the trees, popping their heads around. Fantastic to watch the kids, and I don't think there's any need to hide while you're watching a game. You're well off the pitch. I think that was a bit embarrassing, you know, because it is your child. You want to watch the game of football. If it's in your blood, as I've said, it's in my blood. You've got to watch football. You've got to make sure, especially kids football, because you love the enjoyment. You get stuck in. It was great football, and even the coaching was absolutely fantastic today. I must admit, well done to all you coaches over the weekend. Being absolutely brilliant, and I'm sure many of the referees will agree. The referees today, they were fantastic, young referees, enjoying themselves, smiles on their faces, and I don't know whether that was because there was no fans there basically, or supporters, or parents. But as I say, it started off a little bit hot, should we say, because I was approached on fair dues by one of the committee members asking me what I was doing if the parents weren't allowed in there. Every right to ask that question, I suppose, and I got a little bit heated, you know, as you do in football, because if you're not involved in grassroots football, you wouldn't understand anyway. It all settled down, and I was eventually allowed in. Thank you very much to the Wanton Curtail committee. We went in there, and obviously I was looking around as a referee mentor, and obviously looking at the situation regarding the parents, because I, for one, I'm definitely one parent per child. I'm for it. I don't want to see empty stadiums. In the Premier League we talk about that every day. I don't want to see disappointed managers, or are they disappointed? I'm not too sure. Just give you some feedback, and I had some great feedback from Jericho Lane as well, with Wayne McPartland, who was reporting from there for us and giving me a little insight into how the day went. And yesterday was mayhem. Last week was mayhem. Got feedback on that one as well, with all the parents and people forcing their way into the ground, into the hub, wanting to watch their child, and maybe some of the staff were verbally abused and what have you. And it happens, unfortunately it happens, because people don't like being told you can't go in, especially if your child is involved. And I know there's no warrant for abuse or anything like that. The staff are absolutely magnificent. Well done to all the staff who've been working over the weekends, taking all the flack if you've been taking it, working in the freezing cold. I must admit, you've been absolutely excellent, A1, and trying to make peace if you can, and trying to do your best on that. Do you know what? Well done, you've done. So your hierarchy, your bosses should know all about that. You've done a fantastic job dealing with a lot of parents, I must admit, over the weekend, because they have to drop their child off. So Jericho Lane, absolutely fantastic today, even with the weather. The report was back, excellent, couldn't say no more than that. Kids were enjoying themselves, parents were adhering to the rules and regulations of not coming in. They were all stood around, they were all outside the ground, which you would expect, because many just don't want to go home and come back while their child is playing, because safeguarding is a massive, massive key. Now, if you look at this today, this is what we've been doing, Safe to Play with the Zapper app. It's free to download. You may have got a card off me, you may not, but they're coming round, I assure you. And it is about safeguarding. Now, we couldn't give any out today because obviously there was no parents around the ground, so these, when you're allowed back in eventually, hopefully next weekend, bit of common sense, let's try and get one parent per child, please, because if you looked at this, it says, worried about a child? Well, we certainly are, obviously, because it's safeguarding. Now, there's a lot of things that we talked about with managers today, and again, go back to Wayne, thanks very much for doing that bit of reporting there for me. It was brilliant, and well done to everyone in Jericho Lane, mums, dad, parents, coaches, kids, everyone who was involved in it, and the referees as well. But as far as I'm concerned, we've had some fantastic days over the weekend, and we're going back to the safeguarding because managers were approaching me. No parents, over the 3 days, no one had any animosity towards me, one iota, because obviously it was there for young referees, mentors, watching to see how they're going, excuse me, and it's going rather well, I must admit. As I say, plenty of smiling faces, even though 1 or 2 referees didn't show unwell or couldn't make it, but the committee managed to fill with new referees, so well done. This is today's, by the way, well done to the committee, Dave and Ian, who've done a fantastic job, and yesterday's North Liverpool JFC, you've got Ian, Bob there, who were doing a fantastic job. Sorry, Ian, Connor, I'm getting mixed up with Ian all the time. Anyway, no matter who you are in the committees, you're doing brilliantly, and I'm sure Jericho Lane and all the committees there and the staff are doing an absolutely fantastic job. And wherever you were, we know around the country there's going to be 1 or 2 complaints coming in over why they couldn't get in, because people are irate about it, yet mixed emotions. I can imagine many parents stayed away, I must admit, today, but the car parks were pretty full, and we watched them. There was still a lot of parents watching from the hillside, as we say, from the back of the woods, from the trees, from you name it. It's going to happen, especially here on Merseyside. If people could carry a water crate or water bottles and medical bags and try and get in, that is what happens, and I guarantee there's a lot of funny stories going on out there as to what people were doing to try and get in to a hub. You know, it's hard to say the least, because grassroots football is not as we know it, really isn't as we know it, and I think everyone agrees with me. But the report today, absolutely brilliant, couldn't knock it, couldn't knock the weather, and I even asked 1 or 2 children who were going past, I just said, come on lads, shouted to them, I said, what was it like with no parents? And there was a gang of them walking past, good, 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 and one said, good, because when I scored I didn't get a headache. I just thought, yeah, well this is off the kids, these are 10-year-olds going past me today. Didn't ask a lot of kids obviously, but the first weekend, good. So we walked around, and I did. Now, we're from Don't Cross the Line, and it's all about good behaviour on touchlines, on and off the field of play, should I say, protecting our referees, making sure there's a difference there, making sure that everyone sings off the same song sheet, as we always say, and people are encouraging, watching, giving sports personship. I can't say sportsmanship anymore, I'm sorry, because there's a lot of young ladies who play in mixed teams now, isn't there? So it's got to be sports personship. I think we all have to get used to that. But when I was walking around, there was a lot of gaps, there was a lot of quietness in around the games, and as I say, a referee pinpointed something out to me on a Friday evening, asking me, what is it, what do you think, myself, my opinion. I asked his opinion, and regarding no parents, and he didn't like it. He likes an atmosphere. He said he's been reffing for 16 years, and he said wherever he goes, he just wants to see atmosphere, or whatever he referees. And obviously he was taken aback a bit. He said it's different, and as I say, it's not grassroots football, not as we know it, in the least anyway. It isn't. But asking 1 or 2 managers walking around, they were pretty happy with it. There was no answering back, there was no parents shouting towards the referees, and I suppose the referees will be ecstatic over it, to be honest. They don't notice, they referee a game the best they can. and you just have to get on with it, I suppose, at the moment. But hopefully next weekend will change. I was asking, not parents, managers themselves, obviously their opinion about what it's like, and they said they find it a lot easier. And do you know what? I could pinpoint, I could look at managers and coaches, I could listen to what they were saying actually, and you can see the coach shines through as well then, because their kids are not getting told where to play, what move to play, pass the ball, go up front, shoot, put a tackle in. You know, you hear all that, don't you, from the touchlines, and that's unfortunately what it is about grassroots football. And you're probably wondering why I'm going on saying one parent per child if I'm happy when there's no parents there. Well, as I say, I pinpointed safeguarding out there because you've got a lot of issues, haven't you, with the young children, 7 years of age. If a manager or coach has charge of all that team, and one of them wants to go to the toilet, say for instance, then they have to point the way to the toilets. The child has to walk to the toilets on their own. Yes, there's plenty of people around, but that's, you know, not his team, not his mum, not his dad, not auntie, uncle, grandparents, whoever it may be. So there's issues there that you have to look at all the time, because we all know safeguarding is key to grassroots football, especially now with everything that we've gone through over the last few years, and it's all been pointed out on TV. So there's got to be a lot of issues that we're looking into as well, and that's what our worry is. We love to see one parent, one child, because rumours can fly about a coach or manager, you know, who protects the coach as well while they've got 7, 8, 9, 10 kids in their care as well. You know, you could say it's great they've got 2, 3 coaches, but one of them says something, one of the children go back to mum or dad, and then they're not there to witness it. They're going to believe the child, and you can understand where I'm coming from. So this is what I'm looking at safeguarding. In the real world, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it, to have, well, in the real world, we're going to have parents, but great, you know, let the kids play, let the kids enjoy them. But the feedback I was getting is off committee members, it's off coaches, it's off, you name it, everyone who's welfare officers, that some kids need encouragement. I was a child once, I loved encouragement. Surely you need encouragement as well, or you did when you were young. You didn't like the angriness, the shouting, that stops kids in the tracks playing football. I can see it, you can see that when the coaches, when loads of parents, they're all like that, and you see a lot of kids crying because of it. I didn't see one child cry over this weekend, to be honest. Mums and dads, certain mums and dads, you know, when the kids get shouted at because they haven't done what you like them to do, not what they're trying to do. They want to improve and develop their skills, just like our referees, our young referees out there. We just need to make sure, if you do get back in, maybe as a month's trial, that, you know, it come up, if let's hope the council and whoever it is making these decisions, and the hubs, the bosses on there, make a better decision, and let's all free flow. Because going by Walton Kirkdale last week, when the one parent scheme was in place, there was no problems whatsoever, and I was there as well, and the committee swear by that. They said they probably had their best weekend of football that they've ever had, with no moans, no groans, right where to treat. But this weekend was totally different because the parents weren't allowed in there. There was a lot of parents moaning, yes, we all understand that, and the staff were moving them all on if they were stood in a close distance within the grounds, not in the hubs themselves. And it was just one of those things. The atmosphere is terrible at the moment. We need to get rid of that atmosphere. We need to bring the enjoyment back in grassroots football. And other points were pointed out that I want to be with my son or daughter when they're playing football. I want to see them develop their skills. I like to talk to them about it, you know, because there is a good majority of parents out there as well who really talk a good game with the kids and watch them and listen to the child, because the child are all bubbly. Okay, the kids will go home to them and tell them all about the game, and a few porkies will probably come out that they scored 10 goals and they hadn't even had a shot on goal. I can imagine what the kids are saying, because mum and dad weren't there to witness it and pull them up about it. So what a tackle he put in as well. You can imagine what kids are like, and it is enjoyment all around. But let's hope, as I say, next week we can have one parent per child, because I still get loads of emails, I'm still getting loads of phone calls, talking to managers, understand the managers, their point of view as well. Yes, it's been quiet, it's been great. The kids, some of the kids will probably moan that they need their mum and dad. Now, if they don't, and you think it's okay to stay away, but put all the burden on a coach, that's where you've got to watch. They're still the glorified babysitters, but it goes a little bit longer, doesn't it now? They're more than babysitters, aren't they, if this keeps happening? So we need to look at it, and we're all for COVID-19, we're all for that. I don't mean it coming round, I mean getting rid of it. I mean working together as a team and trying to get rid of it and do what we need to do to try and make it better. We're understanding why all the governing bodies and all the councils and everyone is trying to put things in place to try and combat COVID-19, but you can't combat something where the pubs are open till 10 o'clock, people are congregating in there, and then you're talking to people who want to go out in the fresh air, where they say it's better for you to watch their children play at a safe distance and not allowed to. Things don't make sense. This is where people are confused. I'm confused. I still will be confused until we all get something in order and we all work together and understand the rules, the regulations about COVID-19. Because you've got gyms open where adults are using, you've got facilities shutting down. I don't know. I'm as confused as yourselves. So let's hope, with all the drums banging and us making a bit of a noise about it as well, and working with the committees, working with grassroots managers, working with yourselves, mums and dads, we're on your side. We do need to make sure that at least one parent can come in, because the young referees out there as well, their parents like to go and watch them to make sure they're okay. You don't want a mum and dad with a 7-year-old child sitting in a car park, dropping them off, go and play football, and we're either going home or going away. It doesn't make sense. Councils have safeguarding rules. You break them, you pay for the consequences. That you know, we all talk about DBS checks. You can't break them. You need safeguarding within grassroots football. What's the point of having safeguarding if we're doing this? It doesn't make sense to me. And I'm a stickler for safeguarding, as everyone knows there. And thanks to Gordon Johnson, I won a lovely award from the NSPCC about safeguarding. So you can see my concerns. You can, where I'm coming from. And many of you as well, you managers, you're all DBS checked, or the majority of you are, aren't you? Because it's all a slow system at the moment with everything in COVID. They doing it online, do this online, do that online. And no wonder there's so many sites breaking down and we can't get through. But it's early days. COVID-19 is definitely here to stay. We know that. I've got just over 3 minutes left of the show. So I'd like to just say thanks to Wayne McPartland, and Wayne also has asked, is there any coaches out there to help him? He's not a coach, he's a manager, he's got a DBS and everything like that, but he needs some assistance with coaches. If they can give some free time, please contact myself, mal@don'ttexttheline.com. He's involved in MAGs, so if there's any coaches who can pass on their coaching skills to him and help him out on a training situation that is free for him, then please get in touch with ourselves and we'll put you in touch with Wayne, or as I say, Mags Athletic, or whoever it is. It's all Mags. They've got a big outfit, or you can get in touch, as I say, with myself, mal@don'ttexttheline.com, and as a friend on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social network sites. Now, we might have a sad announcement next week. We might have a departing announcement. We've had some great news over the weeks, and we put it to you, but also we might have a sad announcement that one of our ambassadors may be calling it a day. Moving on to better things, going into coaching a young team, looking towards that. We've got to let people go who have, in football, kids have commitment. Kids want to play and make it right to the top. That's what they do. They have commitment. In referees, you have to have commitment if you want to make it to the top as well. You've got to take consequences. You've got to put things to the side. You've got to have a right go. You've got to push yourself, force yourself, make yourself do this, because you're only young once. So you've got to take and make the most of it. And if you've got support in that, then why not? This is what the coaches are for. This is what coaches do with kids, bring them right the way through. And if they've got it, then they get picked up by the Premier League teams or whoever it is, professional teams. It's the same goes for referees. You need support behind that to get there, because no one is just going to offer their support. If you get support offered, take it. Good luck to you. But as I say, if we'll have this special announcement anyway next weekend, give you more insight into it, but we'll obviously have to replace our ambassador. Few people in mind already, they've got to be you've got to be committed and volunteer as well. And if you haven't got the time and you're starting to get busy, then you have to move on, don't you? It's simple as that. If you can't commit to anything, you move on, regardless. No matter what you want to do, if you're going to do it, then you have to have total 100% commitment. If you can't commit, then what's the point in carrying on and doing something? It's a long life you have. Make the most of it while you're young. Take every opportunity that you get offered and that you can take. And we can only wish you the best of luck in whatever you do next, don't we? And that's the way it is. But as I say, we'll probably have that announcement for you early next week, because it'll be before I go to Turkey. Up to now, I'm still flying out to Turkey on Friday. If I don't, I don't. If I do, I do. It's one of those things. Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time and effort to watch us, listen to us. Thank you very much for all the feedback and all the likes. It's been brilliant. It's been a hectic week as normal. We don't cross the line, and we aim for another hectic week before I fly off to Turkey, but I'll get a lot done, especially that we're teaming up with KCC Live FM Community Radio. That is going to be unbelievable, I assure you. There's a lot going on. So please keep watching, keep listening to Don't Cross the Line, our podcast. We'll be back again, well, maybe a show early midweek, because we've got some posts coming out on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and it'll probably be with KCC Live. They'll put them on for us, and we appreciate your time and effort to watch us and listen to us. In the meantime, I thank you very, very much indeed for tuning in to the Don't Cross the Line podcast. So from myself, Mal Lee, and all the team here at the Grassroots Show, Don't Cross the Line and Respect programme, have a great evening. Good night, God bless. See you midweek. Put your feet up, relax. Good night.